MCV. I'm Miles Jordan, a fourth-year environmental science major from Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and this is BIMS Bites. And today, I'll be biting to coral reef restoration. So first to start off is, what is coral? So coral reefs are invertebrates that are made up of colonies of hundreds to thousands of tiny individual corals called polyps. They have a hard exoskeleton made of calcium carbonate, and they are sessile. This means that they are permanently fixed to one place. Now, coral reefs they are very important to the environment because they help reduce storm damage, coastal erosion, and they also provide employment, recreational opportunities, and they play a major source of food, and they are a major source of food for coastal communities. So I want to get into the threats of corals. So some common threats to coral reefs include bottom trawling, canal digging, and blast fishing. This causes physical disruption to the coral reefs by damaging their hard calcium carbonate skeletal structure. And other serious threats include marine pollution and inland mining. However, one of the largest threats to coral reefs currently is climate change. Now, it's known that climate change is causing rising temperatures. However, these rising temperatures are causing coral reefs to bleach, also known as coral bleaching. Now, coral bleaching occurs when the water is too warm. Corals will expel their zooxanthellate, which is a type of algae that lives within their tissues, and it causes the coral to turn completely white. Now, zooxanthellae are important to the corals because they help provide the coral food via photosynthesis. And as the oceans become warmer beyond their temperature range, which is 4 to 5 degrees Celsius, this causes them to bleach or expel the zooxanthellae, which causes them to bleach. Now, what is coral reef restoration and why is it important? Now, coral reef restoration uses natural processes and modern technology to help restore damaged coral reefs. So how does it work? Coral reef restoration involves the process of fragmentation of mature corals. So fragmentation is the process or the state of being broken into small parts, and from these broken parts, a new individual can grow. Now, an example here is a regeneration. Now, in the figure you see here is an example of hydrofragmentation. So when the animal is actually broken into two pieces, and a separate individual could grow from that broken part. Now, fragmentation can often be confused with regeneration, which is the regrowth of an organism's body part, such as like a lizard when it loses its tail. This is completely separate. This is an individual growing from a whole new individual growing from a separate broken part, rather than growing a part of its body. Now, animals that can actually fragment themselves include sea stars, sea urchins, sponges, jellyfish, and tube worms. So coral trees. So after scientists fragment the coral or break them into smaller parts, they then put them on coral trees, which are makeshift trees. So scientists first create coral trees, which is a PVC pipe structure that resembles a Christmas tree, and they are tethered to the ocean floor and buoyed with a subsurface float. And using a monofilament line, the small fragments are hung like ornaments on the coral tree. And this design actually allows the scientists to grow a large number of coral fragments, as each coral tree can hold up to 100 or more coral fragments. And what's interesting about this is that corals can actually recognize that they're next to another coral, and they can grow out of the way of each other. That way they don't get tangled up. So the tree floats in the water column and is able to move. So this tree is actually able to float in the water column and is able to move with storm-generated wave surges. And this actually helps dissipate wave energy, which prevents damage to the tree structure and the corals themselves. And this photo is taken from the Coral Restoration Foundation, which actually is using this method currently. So repopulating reefs. So the coral trees stay suspended in the nutrient sunlight-rich water column long enough until the fragments of the corals grow into colonies that are large enough to be outplanted into the reef in just 6 to 9 months. And once they reach a substantial size, they're actually tagged and they're taken to a carefully selected reef restoration site, where they are attached directly to a reef using a 2-part green epoxy, which is a clay-like structure, that environmentally friendly clay-like structure that secures the coral onto the reef itself. And the Coral Restoration Foundation has actually been using this method since 2012, and they actually have outplanted more than 120,000 corals onto the Florida Reef Tract. Thank you guys for tuning into this BIMS episode about coral reef restoration. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions. My LinkedIn page, my email is milesjordan238@gmail.com. My Instagram is @mondro_999. And thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe, and please subscribe to Black and Marine Science. Their Instagram, YouTube channel, and Twitter are all available. And a special thanks to Tierra, Simone, and Black Marine Science for allowing me to create this episode to educate you guys on coral reef restoration. Thank you guys. Have a blessed day.